Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. Um, I hope you're all doing great. Today, I have a pleasure to welcome Sister Elizabeth, who is our special guest tonight. And she's from California. So she has been teaching and practicing Raj Yoga meditation for over 35 years. Sister Elizabeth, she lives at Anubhuti Retreat Center. That's Brahma Kumari's center in California. It's up north of San Francisco. She manages there all the programs, workshops at the retreat center. She's also co-leading Brahma Kumari's environmental initiative in US. And one of her specialities that you may not know, but she's a great singer. And she has touched many hearts through her songs and, of course, her spiritual efforts, her work in this area. So today uh, she will be sharing her insights and wisdom on the topic of vibrations and attitude, how they change the world. So, with that, I would like to invite Sister and would request everyone to join us in welcoming her, Sister Elizabeth. Thank you.
Thank you, Svetaben. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, and nice to see you and everyone. I had the fortune of coming to Toronto. I don't know if we've met before, but I am happy to be present in some form, at least virtually here. But I think that was 2017 when Sister Shivani was doing a tour, and I really enjoyed the family there, the spiritual family that's in Toronto, mover shaker family. I witnessed an amazing harmony and teamwork there. So I was so happy when Sister Savi and Brother Arvind asked me to, uh, you know, give a talk or at least share my experience on this topic of vibrations and attitude, and not only how they can change my inner world, but also how it affects, the external world. So I'll just share with you some of the things that I've researched and how I've applied them in a spiritual way. So let's just take a look at, what is vibration? I've had students ask me, well, what do you mean vibrations? Do we give vibrations? Do people give vibrations? Well, everything gives vibrations. The whole universe and even the micro world gives off a vibration that can be measured scientifically. But also, we can pick up vibrations. Have you ever had that experience when you walk into a room and no one is saying anything, but you can feel like something's up? Like, it's really, there's a saying in the US, I don't know if you've heard this, you could cut the room with a knife, meaning that the atmosphere was so thick and intense, like something had just happened. Or if you've ever been to a play or a performance where the performer could fill the room with their energy, with their vibration of joy or happiness. So our bodies give off a vibration. The planet also gives off a vibration. So we can pick that up with a sense of feeling. Even in our chests, we can pick up a vibration, you could say, with our with the intelligence of our heart. And we also can pick up vibrations through our ears. And we can also feel them actually with the receptors in our skin. I'll give you an example of how vibrations travel through the room and can affect an object. I'm going to share a slide, if I may, for a moment, just so because some of you may not have seen a crystal bowl. And I have a dear friend who I've known through the years from the Images and Voices of Hope. Okay, it's not letting me go to, well, anyway, I think you can see this. Can you see the
Yes, we can see the
okay, great.
slides.
So these bowls are made of crystal, and they are tuned to a particular frequency, which we would call a musical note. There's a scale, and this musical scale is mathematical. A perfect C is always a perfect C, no matter what language you speak, what culture you come from, the vibrational note of a C is the same. And so you can tune these bowls to that particular note. And there's a variance of, you can say A, B, C, D, or Do, Re, Mi, Fa, So. And in Hindi, they also have sounds for each note. Well, my friend Luz Elena owns this crystal shop, and it's quite elaborate. And in the shop were a shelf full of these bowls, just like this, and about this many. And she said, why don't you sing and see which one vibrates? So I went over to the bowl. Now, you have to, just flick that bowl to make a sound, and you get the right tone. And I flicked a bowl that was an A flat, or no, excuse me, A sharp. And so, ooh, and so I heard it, and then I went across the room at least 20 feet to the other side of the room. And there's this many bowls on that shelf. And I sing that same note that I heard from that bowl, the A sharp or B flat. Same. For those of you who are musicians, you know what I'm talking about here. But I just sang that same note. Ooh, and only that one bowl sang back to me. Ooh. So here's an object, and crystals are amazing, as you know, because they can hold information, they resonate, they vibrate, and these bowls sing. And so I found that absolutely fascinating. How is it that if I sing a note, only that bowl will sing back to me? And if I sing maybe another note, then another bowl will sing back to me. It's an inanimate object, and yet it can respond. How is it doing that? Because the vibrations from the tone, you can't see them with your eyes, but they begin to go through the room, and then they hit the crystal bowl that's at that right frequency, and then it'll sing back. I'm using my hands to create that same kind of motion that's happening in this bowl. Okay. Now the same thing happens with us human beings. We're this being in this human form, and it's 90%, 85 to 90% water. And water crystallizes, water vibrates, and it sends vibrations as well. But not so much through the tone. Yes, we can do that with our tone, and we can also resonate with music that we hear. Our bodies will receive it. Just as you mentioned before, our heart will pick up vibration, and the water in our bodies will pick up vibration. But we also can send vibrations through our thoughts, the type of thoughts that we have. Each thought has a frequency, has a different vibration. And some thoughts will have a very low frequency, very gross frequency base, and some will be very high. And I'm not talking so much in tone, but in the quality. And in Ayurveda, you can also talk about it in the sense of these Rajo vibrations and Sato vibrations, and then the more stuck energy or slow energy is the Tamasic or Tamo vibration. And so, or you could say gross vibration and enlightened vibrations. And so we can pick them up based on the quality of thoughts that I have. So thoughts are very powerful. And I'm sure most of you know this, that we process a lot of thoughts in a day, right? Thousands of thoughts in a day. Yet how many of those thoughts am I aware of? And that's what a contemplative practice is about, a meditation is all about, is to become aware of our thoughts and the effect that our thoughts have on our environment, on our internal environment, my mind, my feelings and emotions, right? They can get stirred up based on the type of thoughts I have. But also, I can send thoughts and vibrations to others. An example would be like if you have a difficult relationship, let's say with your boss, and they're very demanding, and anything and everything you do is wrong. At least that's what it feels like. I had a boss like this back in the 90s, and he was a doctor and head of his field, very big, booming voice, okay? And and he'd get phone calls from around the world, and I would misspell some of the other doctors' names. He'd get really upset, and I could feel, myself just kind of imploding. And I said, I'm going to make this challenge, um, uh, you know, something for me to work on, and I'm going to change. My objective was not to change the other person. My objective was to change how I react and respond to this person. And so anytime he would make a comment, I would just only see what it was, listen to what he wanted or needed. And then I would take notice when this big bear kind of personality would be really friendly with his patients and even giggle sometimes. So I would just really focus on his inner qualities of joy and love and playfulness and sincerity and truthfulness. I just kept looking at his good qualities and resonate with those qualities and vibrate those qualities. And after about a year, it took a year, I stopped reacting. But because I wasn't reacting in the same way, he trusted to call me into his office. Now I was a little apprehensive. I thought, oh no, now what did I do? But I was quite relieved when he just started talking to me, and just, asking some questions. We got into this philosophical conversation. And before you know it, I was just sitting across from him in his office, and we were just chatting away. And he stopped for a moment, like, wait a minute, this isn't in the script. It took him off guard, like he felt so comfortable with me. because I wasn't emanating a vibration of fear. And I realized in that moment that he has to put on this rough veneer, this vibration of intensity, because he doesn't want to let anything else in. That he had fear, but the way he handles with fear was like this, in your face. Whereas others might, everybody has their different way of, I would say, the dance. Everyone has a different way of, you say MO, method of operation, or modality, how you perform with different vibrations, different attitudes. And everybody will give off a different vibration. And so in this case, with the doctor and myself, my employer, we had a very harmonious relationship for many years after that. And there was a trust built. But again, I wasn't trying to change him. I was trying to change myself. And I realized that by changing myself, I changed the whole constellation within that office. I changed the whole way we interact with one another. When you change one player or add another player, it will change the dynamics within that group. Another example, if you had 5 people in a room, okay, imagine 5 people in a sitting room, and a big German Shepherd just playfully comes into the room. All 5 of those people, each one will have a different reaction, won't they, to that dog? Each one. And the dog will respond according to, he doesn't know our language. He goes by the vibration. And he could tell which one was afraid of him. And that was the one he was attracted to. But then I deterred the dog because I just said, come on, puppy, come on. This actually happened, actually. I just said, come out of the room. Come on, come on, come on. And I just treated him like if he was a puppy, and he responded like a puppy. And we also know that in learning, in education, teachers know that the student will only comprehend 17% of what you tell them. So you need to have visuals, but not only visuals, but you need to have the right vibration. You can tell when someone is speaking from experience, when someone is speaking from an authority of some kind. You can pretend for a while, but you can fake it, but after a while you have to be, relationships demand authenticity, and they will challenge you. And am I willing to meet them at that authentic place? We'll talk more about that in a minute. But just to first understand the effect of vibrations, where vibrations come from, they, in the sense of consciousness, that vibration will create a big effect on my body, on my mind, on my attitude and disposition, even on how I see life. Vibrations depict my perception of reality. And it begins with thoughts. So let's just look at thoughts for a moment. And just have patience with me, because I know some of you are very experienced and understand the impact of thoughts. But just to go back to the fundamentals, that our thoughts create our world. And we process so many thoughts in a day. But how many of those thoughts am I aware of? If you think about it, in that given day, today, this morning, While you were having breakfast, are you aware of what you were thinking? Do you even remember what you had for breakfast? So, so much of our day is just on automatic pilot. Have you ever drove home from maybe the grocery store or from work, and you think to yourself, oh my goodness, how did I get here? So we do a lot of things by rote, but a meditator learns how to exercise that muscle of awareness. It's not the analytical type of awareness where I'm going to measure everything. No, I just have to be an observer. And the more I accept whatever thoughts there are, the more they'll be apparent to me. They'll be revealed to me. They'll be friendly. If I judge my thoughts, then they'll hide. Just like naughty children, right? If you tell a child, what's that in your hand? What do they do immediately, right? They go, oh, nothing. What? Immediately. And that inner child inside of each one of us will do the same thing to ourselves. And this is why you'll hear, you know, people who teach mindfulness of some kind, that awareness and acceptance go hand in hand. So this observer state is how I can begin to see the effects of the vibration of thoughts that they have on my body. And we also know about psychosomatic effects on our bodies, and that's based on our thoughts and attitudes. So if I have a lot of stress, I will affect the organs and tissues in the body. Even an oncologist, head of the oncology department of a military hospital, stated that 92% of all diseases are stimulated or begin with a psychosomatic disorder. And that's consciousness, the quality of the thoughts that we have. And so they affect our bodies, they affect our minds, they affect our attitudes, how we see the world, how we see our relationships. And so if I keep sending positive vibrations to someone whose vibration may be at a lower frequency, or in what we would say negative thought patterns, and perhaps they may be even directing those negative thoughts to me, and especially the ones that are closest to us, they will affect us more than anyone else. But I've experienced this and experimented when a challenge comes up in these long-term relationships, but even in these work relationships, and I just send positive vibrations. And I like to not try to change them. If I focus more on changing my attitude, my disposition, that I can breathe easy when I'm around them, that is a great accomplishment. But once you do that, you will affect the other person, because you're not playing the same game. You're not resonating at that negative frequency. So like a bell, I am like that crystal ball or bowl, and you could be that crystal bowl. And let's say you're challenging me and you're upset with Elizabeth for some reason, but I will not resonate at that level and pick up that vibration. But if I go in a superior attitude, I could get caught, meaning, oh, look, they're being, angry. but I'll get caught up in, if my ego kicks in, meaning that I have a value system. But if I look at them, meaning a value system of superiority, but if I have a value system of mercy, it's a whole different, even when I said the word mercy, could you feel it? It's a different than superiority, like I'm some big shot, rather than, oh, understanding the other, that they're under an influence. Doesn't even those words create a different vibration? It's like almost, oh yeah, mercy. Oh, what a relief. I have a choice. So that's the bottom line. With acceptance and awareness, I will have both hands on the wheel, and I can steer to the left or to the right, meaning I have choice. Also, awareness, the mindful awareness, the meditative awareness, it allows the soul consciousness to relax, to rejuvenate itself, to hum at a frequency that is very subtle. And these are what nourish our disposition. If we don't get sleep, we get really grumpy. We can really get cranky. We don't work as efficiently if we don't get enough sleep. But we go unconscious to rest the body. But to rest the soul, we have to become awakened, conscious. But both the conscious vibration that helps the soul, awareness, the being, and the human form, the body, has to resonate in that high frequency, which is called delta. That rejuvenates the body, but it's unconscious. So let me show you a diagram of this so it gives you a better idea. And this is in science. And, you know, the electroencephalogram or electroencephalograph is that cap that they put on, you know, the person that they're going to, you know, pick up their brain waves. And so it will pick up the frequencies. So our brain is vibrating, our heart vibrates, our body vibrates. And so again, it's made of water. And they've measured these frequencies. And gamma is very focused, actually. So it's not to say because it's going up and down, it's not a negate or a negative. It's how we use them. But the gamma is very focused yet intense. And so your high performance athlete could be in gamma, right? And beta is very alert, get it done. Alpha would be kind of more relaxed and, you know, kick back. Lucid means you're kind of in between the conscious and unconscious world. And theta is usually that meditative state. And delta is that deep sleep. And they call it REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. And we only need maybe 20 minutes of it, but it takes a while to get to it, to have that, you know, rejuvenation for the body. Now, what's interesting is that relaxed state where you see the 8 to 12 hertz, and that's how many repetitions per second, how many vibrations per second. The planet Earth, it vibrates in kind of a donut shape of vibrations, and its normal frequency I mean, it'll have, I guess, 3 main points, but one of them is 7.83. And a normal frequency normalizes everything. And if it goes off, like in the city, it's not the same frequency as in nature. So that's why when we walk around the lake or amongst the trees, or we sit out even in the backyard and walk our bare feet in the grass, we'll pick up that neutralizing vibration. Or if you garden, you'll feel that vibration that's very alpha, relaxing, and very neutral vibration. But when we are in the city, it's a higher frequency. And the Schumann Resonance is famous. You could look that up. It's a whole thing about this. I don't know if he was a professor, and his mother, he was a scientist, a professor, and his mother had some mental issues, some mental problems. And he noticed that when she was in the city, she was unmanageable. She would just go manic. She was just he couldn't deal with his mother. She was not herself. But when he brought her into nature, at least in this particular case, with whatever her issues were, she could be managed. She was much calmer. And this is what inspired him to investigate what the difference was. And he was able to understand that it was the vibrations, and that in the city it was too intense for her. But in the country where their home was, another home, a country home, she was fine. So what he did was, to prove it, is what he created a frequency in a room of 7.83 in the city, but he created that vibration in the room. And she was manageable in that space. So it's called Schumann Resonance, SCHUMANN resonance. But it's interesting. So what this makes me understand is that I too can become like a, this case they had a machine, but I can also give off that resonance. I also can send vibrations and create a vibration in the room that's conducive for higher frequency interactions, higher frequency changes, shifting. And it's lovely to experiment. I live in a retreat center, so I live in community. And it's the same group for the last 17 years. And so we meditate together, and we come from different cultures, different backgrounds, different ages. And of course, the meditation allows us to find a harmonious, common place, a harmonious exchange. But to maintain that meditation, I have to stand back, to be the observer, to accept, but also be the observer, and to not get caught up in my old patterns, my old vibrational patterns that will be heavier. As you know, I'm a musician, and I've studied music and singing. I've always been aware that certain scales, certain tones will affect the atmosphere, but also as an instrument or a musician with whatever instrument you're playing, even the voice, it really, part of the beauty of being an artist is the vibration that you have when you are, or the vibrations you convey as you perform will affect the room. And I see that too in the same way with our interactions with our families, with our relationships? What is my attitude? How do I see the other? What is my vibrational level when someone comes into the room? And what do I do when I begin to notice that, oh, wow, I can feel that I feel challenged with this person. This particular relationship really makes me feel hurt or anger or um, um, you can get annoyed. I mean, I don't know. Would you ever get annoyed by someone? Sometimes people will be very challenging. They know that you're annoyed and they'll try and annoy you more because they don't like being judged or whatever. And it's sort of this, sometimes children will do that and challenge their elders this way, or their teachers. But to use that as an opportunity. So these challenges, they come as a gift. They come as a gift. These challenging relationships, they are my teachers, and I say thank you. And when something doesn't go the way that I plan, I really trust that it wasn't intended and that what's in store for me is even better. Why? Why? Because I know that the kind of vibrations that I am not only just practicing, but making natural, that I embody the attitude, like even gratitude, that that feeling of feeling so thankful for everything that I have. It attracts more of that positive energy. So I've come to learn that whether we have a negative attitude about something, I will attract that to me. I will attract more negativity. Even if that person, the other person, if I'm grumpy, I'll make the other person grumpy. And if they're grumpy, it takes a lot of muscle, spiritual muscle, to not give way to another person's grumpiness or irritation. And so if I stay in that thankfulness, stay in, oh, here's my opportunity to grow, to strengthen that internal spiritual awareness that I am originally and innately a pure, loving presence. That I am a pure, loving presence. And that my original vibration is peace. When I'm able to embrace that peace, then a clarity comes. It's as if that lake that was disturbed or murky because of sediment of that's in the lake, you can't see to the bottom when it's disturbed, can you? But when you calm the lake, then naturally the sediment will go to the bottom and rest, and I'll begin to see to the bottom of the lake. And not only can I see to the bottom of the lake, I'll see perhaps debris. I'm using it as a metaphor of past issues or sunken ships or even, garbage sometimes. But I will also recognize the gems, the treasures, the hidden treasures that are there at the bottom of my lake. And by adjusting the focus, because the lake is clear and calm, I can see my own reflection in that calmness. and I'll see myself in my authentic state as I am, as a spiritual being worthy of love, belonging, of worthy of being a powerful presence. And also, in that clarity, I can see the world around me as it is. Right? If I look at the reflection on a lake, I can see the world around me. If I'm disturbed and upset, how will I see myself? How will I see others? And how will I see the world? Now, the world, the physical dimension, it has its natural law. And the physical dimension constantly, what? It constantly changes. And that's our challenge. We think stability means that things don't change. So then we even identify with, this, that's why I said be careful, because ego identity, because we want to pin it down and we call it my car. And then if it gets bashed up on the highway, it's like a part of me gets bashed up. Or if it breaks down, simply just breaks down, then I feel broken. If I'm totally identified with my car. I mean, I've seen this where people lose it just because they get a fender bender, where somebody, when you're in a car crash and there'd be like 3 cars that hit each other, and 2 out of the 3 are calm as can be. Oh, well, and the second one is just losing it. And it could be that whatever's happening in their life, but it's all projected on that fender because they couldn't, deal with that bent up fender or bumper. So the world is constantly changing, and it needs to. That's the flow. The elements have to flow and change, resonate, move, vibrate. Consciousness is a continuum, soul energy, the spiritual presence. The soul is a constant flow of energy. It's eternal energy. And we can change in vibration, but consciousness never dies. It's never born nor dies. It's eternal energy. And when I identify with the gross and try to get stability with the gross reality, it changes, right? Relativity, right? It's all relative depending on how people see it, depending on their vibration, their attitude, their perception is based on their attitude. And your attitude is based on your thoughts, the quality of your thoughts. So when my attitude is harmonious and peaceful, and I build up strength by coexisting in this physical world. That's how I build up. When things change and I'm challenged, that's where I can gain spiritual strength and the proper perspective that nothing's mine. I came into this world and one day I will leave this world. I can't take it with me. It's all based on vibration. And those vibrations color how I see the world. If I want rose-colored vision, right, rose-colored glasses, or blue boo-hoo, poor me glasses, I have a choice. Can you think of someone who's been an influence in your life? Right now, think of someone who has been an inspiration in your life. Someone who's motivated you. It could be someone you know, or maybe someone famous, someone you don't know. It could be a relative, a neighbor down the street. And when you think of that person, perhaps you could identify one thing that you really admire in them. What one quality do you really admire in them? And did you take notice that they weren't dismayed by their circumstances? They didn't make decisions based on their challenges. Oh, I guess I can't do this anymore. But they went beyond that physical threshold, and their soul shined in spite of the difficulties, in spite of the challenges. I'm thinking of a man who had polio, and he didn't only had the proper use of one arm and a bit of his elbow. And he would do construction work for a nonprofit organization I used to work for. And he would trim the hedges with a rotary saw because that's what would work for him. And he even painted put in some shelves and painted the closet. And what I admired was he could collect money from the government, and he was still collecting money from the government, but he earned for himself, and it gave him this, sense of self-worth. But when he first came, people were going, who is this guy? But then after a while, they saw how courageous he was in spite of, his physical challenges. He became kind of this mascot in the office. And so we admire when these heroes in our lives, these special, inspired souls, we even call them Mahatmas, great souls in our lives that inspire us to go beyond the physical, challenges in our life. To not be dismayed. The whole universe, even the microorganisms, the cells and molecules, everything is just held together by vibration. I'm opening that up, but that's a whole nother conversation. Any scientist can tell you that it's 99% space. Everything you see is being held by vibrations. And 99% of what you see, what you hold, what you think is solid is space. So cannot consciousness, this subtle vibration emanating from the soul, not be the foundation of all sciences? Even in quantum physics, which is a very a science that is really advanced, and this understanding the different worlds and realities. And they understand that when you have a certain objective or outcome of an experiment, because scientists are in their lab and they're doing experiments. They call a lab a controlled environment. And when they have a certain outcome that they see or want, usually it's what they want to prove, they've already altered the experiment. Why? Because their attitude was that outcome would be a certain way. Whatever even if they're looking at viruses under the microscope. So even our vibrations will color that or change the outcome of, and there's a whole thing about that with light. They do a whole experiment with that, where different people do the same experiment, but because they were told that it will do a certain outcome, they had that expectation and they innocently did the experiment and they had the probable results from those who had the same intention. The same result would happen for that one, and then a different intention, and then that same result would happen. So there are scientists out there that are aware that consciousness is a foundation of, it's a science, that consciousness is actually a science. But these are just things that I've researched, but really what comes home is the experience that we have when we just feel good. We just want to feel good and to sustain that. And also to affect our relationships. But in doing so, when I come into awareness, I also have to deal with the sediment, right? That stuff at the bottom of the lake that will surface. And some of the memories, so I'm talking about the past and memories. But we can even change how we see the past. We can even change the effect that the past has on us through our attitudes and vibrations. And this would mean to have a little help, and I call it divine consciousness. Whatever reference you have for divinity, but that you have an awareness of a divine frequency, a high frequency of vibration. You could call it God, you can call it Supreme Being, you can call it Allah, Buddha, Shiva, Yahweh, Ishwar, Jehovah. Ah, it's ah. It's beyond the vibration of this physical dimension. And this awe, it happens sometimes when we hit brick walls, when life challenges us and we are disillusioned by these challenges, But why should we only learn when we hit the brick wall? Why should we only learn from the school of hard knocks? Can we not learn by simply tuning within and venturing to that place that can see that inner world, that inner constellation, and also observe the outer world, that external constellation? The Greeks used to call music the ability to see the constellations within, the stirrings within the soul. Whereas our eyes are the tools to see the constellations of the universe. And music is vibration. And the artist, and each one of us is an artist. Each one of us has a body that's 90% water. And of that water and that mass, 99% space held together by vibration. And I'm a conscious being in this human form. And all I have to do is be awake and maintain that awareness in everything I do. So I'd like to close with a little song as an experiment and a meditation. I'm going to sing it a cappella, but just take note. You can even have your eyes closed, or you can have your eyes open in this meditation, but just observe how you feel and the types of thoughts that you have. Okay, so let's take a nice deep breath in and exhale. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes to see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when I think I've lost my way, then I go inside and quiet my mind. I can hear the Spirit sweetly say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. Only love. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, Sister Elizabeth. That was beautiful sharing, beautiful singing. It was complete package. I um I really enjoyed your sharing, and especially my takeaway for this evening is that need to um, we need to be grateful for everything in our life, even if there are challenges, because that's the energy I will be attracting. So thank you so much, and thank you everybody for joining us this evening. We will have a slide of the upcoming programs, so feel free to take a picture, and we will be ending with a nice song. So have a great evening, and thank you, Sister Elizabeth, again.
You're welcome.
Remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes to see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I can hear a spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love.